It's the Audacity for Me by Mahlena-Rae Johnson. For the introverted thought leader who has been performing someone else's conference strategy and wondering why you are exhausted. When you are at a conference, walking the event floor, making small talk at your lunch table, delivering your panel answer with a determined smile, whose voice are you using? Not your actual voice, your internal instruction manual, the one that tells you to stay at the reception longer than your body wants to approach strangers, so that you can check off socialization on your to-do list, to perform enthusiasm for a room that is already several decibels above your comfort level. The manual that says success at a conference looks like being the last person to leave the party and the first person back the next morning, bright, recharged, and ready to do it again. Whose rules are those? Not yours. They were not written for you. They were written by extroverts, for extroverts, in a world that has built a networking infrastructure around the assumption that every professional is energized by a crowded ballroom. You have been trying to win using someone else's rulebook, in someone else's language, in a room that was designed by and for someone else entirely. No wonder you are tired, fellow introvert. You feel like you are doing all of the work and still losing. Extroverts are not winning because they are louder or better or smarter. They are just playing a different game. You are not a broken extrovert. You are a functioning introvert who needs to play your own game. What does a conference actually do to your body? The noise hits first, not just the volume, the layered noise. Every conversation bleeding into every other conversation. The background music that someone thought would be a vibe. The clatter of the catering staff who are trying their best to feed every guest at the same time. Your own internal monologue, running commentary on all of it, burning through cognitive bandwidth you need for the actual work. Then comes the visual overwhelm. The name badges, the lanyards, the branded everything. The increasing number of human faces processing yours and expecting to be processed in return. Your brain, which is wired to go deep rather than wide, is being asked to go wide at approximately 200 kilometers an hour. And then there is the translation layer. Because some of us leaders are doing all of this in a language that is not your first one. You're navigating the sensory overload and the social performance and the professional stakes, and you're probably doing it in English, often standard American English, which is your second, third, or fourth language. All the while, your most fluent, naturally, fully yourself voice sits quietly in another language entirely, waiting to be let out. The pressure of that is not small. The courage of that is enormous. The fact that you still show up, speak up, and try to make it work says everything about your ambition and nothing about your limits. Here is what I am giving you instead: the audacity. The audacity to be yourself before, during it, and especially after your session. When the adrenaline has worn off, the real you is ready to do the actual work of connection, building trust through depth and sincere inquiry, not just charm. The authentic, audacious version of you is not a liability. You are your most powerful business asset. When you perform extroversion, you attract people who are drawn to the performance. You get clients who sign on for the polished, high-energy, works the room version of you. But you cannot sustain this version past the conference weekend without significant personal cost. You get relationships built on an impression rather than on reality. Then you spend the entire client engagement dreading the moment they realize you are, in fact, a person who needs to leave the after party by 9. However, when you show up as yourself, unhurried, measured, thoughtful, and curious, you attract people who are drawn to your reality. These people are your dream clients, the ones who will still want to work with you and vice versa 6 months in. When the conference energy has long since faded, what remains is you, doing your best work in your own way at your own pace. Your audacity can be both a vulnerability and a filter. Give yourself permission to present your unvarnished self. Your occasional search for the correct word is not a weakness. The pause before you answer, the moment where you are translating not just language, but cultural context, professional register, and your own genuine meaning all at once, that is not uncertainty. That is precision, the kind of careful, considered communication that your ideal clients will recognize and value. You do not need to sand your edge to succeed in rooms that were not built for you. You need to find the rooms where your particular kind of intelligence is celebrated as the extraordinary asset it actually is. Rooms where you can be multilingual, cross-culturally adept, and formidable. You need to show up in those rooms entirely as yourself, because the right clients will know immediately that they have found exactly who or whom they have been looking for. What does this look like in practice? Before your session, prepare in the way that works for you, which often means thoroughly, quietly, alone. Do not force yourself to attend the opening reception if it will cost you the energy you need for the panel. Eat something familiar, even if you have it delivered to the front desk of the convention center. Find a secluded corner and you breathe. Remind yourself, in whatever language that feels most like home, that you are enough. During your session, speak about what you actually believe, not what you think the attendees want to hear. Pause before you answer. Let the silence sit longer than it feels comfortable, because that moment is where your best thinking lives. You are not performing. You are communicating. Your audience will feel it and have a call to action. Determine what you want the audience to do and tell them clearly and concisely to do it. After your session, let people come to you. Have a handful of real conversation instead of 11 surface level ones. Write down one thing from each conversation that you actually want to follow up on. Then go back to the hotel at a reasonable hour without guilt. If you are feeling any guilt or FOMO, then send one thoughtful message to one person you genuinely connected with in language that sounds exactly like you. Recover, reflect, and reconnect with anyone else after the conference, once you return home. That is the strategy. Not a performance, not a persona, not a borrowed roadmap written for someone with a completely different nervous system. Play to your strengths. Acknowledge your limits. Your clients are waiting for you, not a facsimile of a leader they can't relate to. Show up, stop pretending, start leading, and lead with the audacity that encourages other people to be themselves too. If you are reading this and thinking, or listening to this and thinking, yes, that person is me. I want to have the audacity to show up as myself. Then let's talk. You do not have to create your authoritative presence alone. Connect with me, Mahlena-Rae Johnson, Conference Optimizer for Introverted CEOs and Thought Leaders, on LinkedIn. LinkedIn.com/in/Mahlena. Thanks for watching.